Good morning, everyone. We are in Melbourne on the 27th floor. Gorgeous, gorgeous, staying at the Crown. So amazing.
Hi, everyone. It's a delight to be here.
We've had a really big week. So in Melbourne for Melbourne YPWA networking. So we had networking in Sydney, Melbourne. On Tuesday in YPWA, we did our managing money. But the theme of this week, this month in July, particularly because it's new financial year, we've been talking all about managing money and managing money mindset. So much awesome conversation this week, right? Just I don't think I really knew how big a conversation and topic this was until we started to layer into it over the course of the week. But particularly about money in Core Confidence, our theme is no excuses, but how much we use money as an excuse for things.
Yeah, I think it's just been fascinating, as you say, to start to unpack some of what's going on beneath the surface. So when we go, I can't do this, or I can't afford it, or I don't have enough money, or my partner doesn't want me to spend money in this way, we start to do a whole lot of things that mean that we're in a place of scarcity, that we don't have enough, and we're also justifying actions based around excuses, which, as we said, let's unpack a little, have a look at what our excuses are doing. And this money one is so insidious. It's just everywhere. And it's always a delight for me when we have guest presenters that stimulate me into re-examining my own thoughts and my own emotions around where are there places where I'm still holding myself back? Where are my limiting beliefs? And I thought both the presenters this week did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, the conversations around money script and really hooking into how we're raised, how our parents, the beliefs they had around money, and I guess even the rituals they had around money. I think there was a really interesting one that actually also came up, so it's funny or not, that this theme started to emerge over the course of the intensives with accelerators around the role, like most of our parents grew up, particularly our mums, going to work for financial reasons, particularly if you were raised in middle class Australia and there were two working parents. The reason most of the mums went to work, not all, but that certainly was true for myself and a lot of the accelerators I was talking about with, that their mum went to work not for career reasons, not because they were ambitious or they had particular passions they wanted to live out in their career, but it was actually a financial reason. And then, this other kind of distinction that came, that the dynamic at home where, typically the woman does more of the home care or the domestic duties, that actually that need to do more in the home also translated to the workplace. So all of a sudden in the workplace, I was doing more as well, because that's kind of my measure of exchange, and then how that's played out in generations below as well. So I think there's some really interesting things, but gosh, it's big in terms of beliefs around money, choices around money, and really, what I say, having kind of worked through this a lot, and what we say all the time, like, I'm very frugal, and I will spend money on things that I love. So we're staying in Crown and it's beautiful, and it's expensive. We don't do it every time we're here, but it's my birthday this weekend, so it's a bit of a treat. But just kind of that, how are you making decisions? And really, money is just about priorities. What's most important? Because if it was really important, you'd find a way. If it was about your health, if it was about something that you truly desperately wanted to buy. We see this in kids who, my nephew loves shoes. He's just turning 21 and buys $600 pairs of shoes. He finds the money for what's important.
It is funny. It's also serious as well, because if it's getting in the way and we're not able to achieve what we want. I really like your catch of, if it didn't cost anything, would I do it? Or would I want to do it?
Free, if it was free. And I say this all the time. I'm talking to clients coming in to accelerate, but also for myself around making decisions, which is particularly when I'm languishing over something and really, really struggling, spending a lot of time making a decision that doesn't feel right. If it's free, would I do it?
Yeah. And I think that removes that kind of tension that you might have on one level, and it just allows you to examine things from a different point of view. And I think that's a lot about what, you know, understanding your mindset, understanding where you might have loyalties towards a certain way of thinking or being. And we saw this play out as well. People sort of saying, well, no, but then I would be earning more than my dad ever earned, or then I would be earning more than my partner. And, you know, how is that kind of staying in the way, or how is that being an excuse for not showing up and not doing everything you want, or not necessarily following what you'd love to do, because on some other dimension, it means a compromise, or it means possibly having a difficult conversation, or, you know, realigning something inside you that is loyal to a past idea, or even something that you think should be a certain way. So I'm excited about the conversations that people are having in the room. And I think there's a, you know, this money conversation, how is it getting in the way? How is it possibly an excuse? Is such a rich one to, if you haven't spent any time around it, to really have a little bit of a look at. And I think one of the things in the book with facing fear is we often have a lot of fear around money. So if you have a relationship with money and there's a lot of fear sitting there.
Talk more about that, because I think for a lot of people, they would go, what do you mean fear? That's absurd. Why would you be fearful of money?
Oh. Well, I think we have fear in two dimensions around money. Fear of scarcity and fear of success. Those two things kind of sit alongside each other.
So having not enough money, or having too much, and what does that mean in terms of my my relationship of belonging to you know, to my friends, to my family, to my partner, to my parents, for example. That was interesting, not publicly, but certainly the conversations around navigating money conversations with partners. And how do we go about doing that? I think one of the really important messages was have the conversation in whatever form it takes, whether you need to go and work with a financial advisor to actually help facilitate that conversation. I think that was really interesting in terms of coming up. You know, the benefit of working with someone is they can actually help you navigate some of that tricky stuff so that you are on the same page. We also talked last night around the fact, you know, wanting to marriages end in divorce, you know, the impact that has on the wealth for women, and then how that translates to super, and you know, the fastest growing demographic of poverty in Australia is women. I think it's 55, or in that certainly that older stage of life. So you know, pay rises and what we earn during our career, and our career decisions impact that. Certainly, you know, personal relationships impact that as well. But I think lots of amazing stuff. We did a great webinar for YPWA with Catherine Finch and David Irwin. A lot of the mechanics, tax, super, insurances, bank accounts, budgets, lots in there. And so I think the key message coming out of all the conversations we've had this week is do something, take control. You know, over 6 weeks, every 6 weeks, pick one thing that you want to focus on. Of course, the pay rise conversation comes up, because that's you know, highly linked to wealth and, you know, cash inflow on a regular basis, and actually leaning into those tough conversations. I feel like I've been talking about money all year, but it's been really interesting how significant the observations of what I'm starting to see of a lot of women who are extremely underpaid compared to colleagues, and also the value that they're giving. And I think the third one is just consciousness around language you use around money, beliefs around money, so that you can actually start to unhook maybe some of the unconscious patterns that are playing out.
Yes, there's lots and lots to work on here. And I think if you're not having conversations about money, whether it's with your employer or your partner or that sort of thing, that's actually an excuse. So, so just catch yourself in that. And, you know, as we've said, sometimes it feels it's never a good time, but those conversations are so important. And if you're not having them, something's going on. So get conscious and figure out what's actually giving you an excuse to not go there.
Yeah, absolutely. And ultimately have the confidence to have the tough and courageous conversations around this subject and get honest with yourself. All right, we're off for a fun day in Melbourne before we fly home. Any questions, please pop them below. We'd love to hear from you. And of course, if you haven't grabbed a copy of the book, callconfidence.com.au. Thanks, guys.